Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Finally,
They finally gave me my own podcast.
Gerry comes to the Low Blows Network. One of the biggest legends of the Irish wrestling scene, Gerry talks to his wrestling friends and beyond about the hobbies in their lives that they're most nerdy about in Talk Nerdy to Me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's another Talk Nerdy to Me. We're back after a few weeks, Dave. We were away for a few weeks.
I know what, anyway, did you miss me?
I did. I love that beard. Oh, I tell you, you could use it as a blanket. You could use it as a blanket. It's so lovely and lush and soft. And I'm not touching it in any way. Don't even imply that I am.
I never invited you to.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we were away for a few weeks. Unfortunately, due to real life problems, we can't always get to a studio, or we can't always get guests in. So
we'll have to be adults at some point.
Exactly, we have to be adults. So myself and Dave had a little chat, and we said, let's come up with a few ideas to kind of combat that issue. We can't always get people in, and everyone has the best of intentions and whatnot, but unfortunately, life does get in the way. So you won't hear a guest or a number of guests here every single show, and that's okay. But I just want to go back to one thing there. I'm finally going to do it, Dave. I'm finally going to give myself the full name that I absolutely and truly deserve.
Okay, now you've been thinking. You must. It's been a while now, so
it has.
I presume this time off has really made you reflect.
Yeah,
and
I've
think
really
about
reflected, and I was a special guest on the Game of Low Blows, which I absolutely loved, by the way. Absolutely loved. He can deny that it was the main show all he wants, but it was the main show. It was. I finally got on the main show after 7-8 years.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
But you see, everyone else has a second name.
Yeah.
He's Rick Nash, Katie Harvey, Corporate Keen. I know. Okay, it's not a second name, but he has two names, Corporate Keen.
True, but sometimes really cool people have only just one name. I was going to say Bono. That's a bad example.
Please don't use him as a good example.
No, I was going to say Prince or.
Yeah, but I'm hardly as iconic as Prince.
You could be
Gandhi.
If you're going that route to Jesus.
Oh God, no! I'm not the Beatles, Dave. I'm not going to say that I'm bigger than them, but I think it's finally time. I've had many names over the years.
Yeah.
I was General Gerry, I believe, for one show.
Okay.
I was Father Terry Soul.
Just before my time.
Before you. Jerry Humperdinck. Jerry Humperdinck, of course.
Of course.
That lovely white bearded man that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Never turned heel. And then there was one right back at the very beginning of my wrestling career.
All right.
Which was Chicken Run.
Chicken Run.
Chicken Run. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to hear this story.
Dave.
Please explain Chicken Run.
Well, way back when I used to be a ref, I'd only been really doing it for a couple of months. I'd been training I did train as a wrestler. A lot of people don't know that I did train as a wrestler,
mm-hmm.
but I got an injury to my knee, and it was a very minor one, very, very minor one. But what happened was then that psychologically I couldn't do it after that.
Yeah,
I just couldn't get it into my head that I could do it, so that was the end of that. So it was offered to me, do you want to do something else? Do you want to manage, or do you want to ref? And at the time I was like, I'd like to be a ref. That way I could see the whole show. Who wouldn't want to see the whole show right from the middle of the ring than to be involved with it? So became a ref, and but at the time I was only going out with my lovely wife now. We're married 10 years this year.
Congratulations.
We're going out, thank you very much, we're going out 14 years, but we were only going out a couple of months at the time, and she was a trainee hairdresser at the time, so she liked to use me as her guinea pig. So do you remember those hairstyles from about 12, 13, 14 years ago? It was spiky hair, but then it was shaved on the sides, and then kind of a V in the back, and the V in the back was almost mullet-like.
This was 12 years ago.
About 12, 13 years ago.
Are you sure this wasn't 32 years ago or something?
No, it wasn't 30. I'm not that fucking old. So she experimented, so she cut that in my hair, but then she dyed my hair blonde.
Okay.
So I do not have a head.
So you look like
for
one of those
blonde
Duck
hair.
Dynasty guys. Or what's that guy on Discovery Channel who mows people's cars and always gets tight sports? You know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Similar
Yeah,
haircut to that.
yeah. We'll leave that at that. So I was doing a show one time. I think it was. God, I can't remember where it was. But we went and did the show anyway. But the announcer on the night decided to call me Chicken Run.
Okay.
You see, the promoter at the time had given me this nickname. But the announcer on the night decided to tell the entire crowd that my name was Chicken Run. So I had to dance around the ring as a chicken. Yeah, as you do. And what happened then was, a couple of months later, we did another show there. And I'll never forget this moment. I was late getting to the ring. The fucking ref, late getting to the ring. So I literally, you know those run and slide in under the bottom rope situations?
Yeah.
I did that. And literally the bell just rang as I sent it. And it was Jodie Fleisch versus Johnny Storm. Two, fantastic wrestlers.
Of course.
And as soon as I stood up, they're trying to get the crowd going. But the crowd, as soon as they saw me, like, chicken run, chicken run, chicken run. Now, Johnny Storm was not happy. He was like, who the fuck is Chicken Run? I was like, I don't know. I think it's some guy in the back that's messing. So we got through the match anyway and did that. So that was my very first wrestling name. Now, it wasn't the very first wrestling name I came up with. We all know there was a man that was on the show a couple of months ago, my good friend and wrestler, Mr. Vic Viper. He was on the show a few months ago.
Right.
But me and him had a tag team.
Okay.
And at the time, his name was a joke. So, his name being Vic Viper was the joke name, and my name that I had created was the serious name.
Okay.
So he was Vic Viper. I was going to be Rick Reaper.
Rick Reaper.
Rick Reaper.
That was supposed to be serious?
Yeah.
Was this your
You see,
idea?
my that was the name I had chosen. I was going to be Rick Reaper, but not only that, his name came about as a joke. His name was actually a joke. Vic Viper, it stuck, and now he still has the name to this day. But
Madness.
the name that, it's me. It's what everybody calls me. It's got to be Gerry Soul.
That's your
It's got to be Gerry Soul.
Gerry Soul?
Gerry Soul.
There we go. So,
Now, you just know, now that I've said it,
right.
that our illustrious leader
Oh, here we go.
is not going to use it.
Of course he's not.
So in all the promotional material and all the stuff for Talk Nerdy to Me, he's just going to be Gerry. Or he's going to tag me as Gerry.
And that's
He's
it.
not going to be Gerry Soul, it's Gerry. So from this moment onwards, I am going back to my original name of Gerry Soul.
Are you not going to show up to here next time we do a show with like a collar or anything like that now, right?
No. There's
No?
no priest gimmick.
No, of course.
See, the Gerry Soul was before the priest.
Oh, was it?
He was before the priest, yeah.
Well, you could also turn up with an afro and like a silk shirt or something like that, or...
I did experiment with different, like I always came out wearing a suit and a shirt and a tie, but I experimented with the different ties and the different shirts.
I'll
and
come
things
back with
like
like 8 different rings, 4 in each finger, like one in each
that.
finger.
I came out with serious bling. I had one of those really big bling crosses that I originally wore it, and then I wore it for the priest, and then I had rings on and jewellery. I'd always go around handing out cards with my name and number, not my real number.
Richard Argos jewellery.
Well, actually, no, not even. That Argos jewellery is too dear for me. Michael Guineas.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
There's
you
an
get really
alternative cheaper to Argos?
Oh, you better believe it.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere, you can get anything cheaper than Argos nowadays. So we're gonna go with Gerry Soul. So if our illustrious leader is listening, my name is Gerry Soul, and I want him to remember that I was the one that.
It has been a while since we heard
It
that.
has been a while, and I still laugh at it. Oh, God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, we've come up with some new and exciting ideas, and I hope you enjoy them. So basically, our first thing that we're going to start doing on a semi-regular basis when we don't have a guest on, there's lots of news channels out there. you know, and even the main Low Blows podcast does a thing called fake news. And we certainly don't want to be giving people fake news. We want to be giving people the most current news on all their nerdy needs.
Of course.
So we have a new segment, ladies and gentlemen, a brand new show called Nerdy News.
Nerdy News.
Nerdy News. We're going to have to get a jingle.
Yeah, I'll sort you out next.
We definitely have to get a
next show.
Yeah, definitely have to get a jingle for that.
To be fair, this was a last minute idea. When we say last minute, we thought of it like maybe, I don't know, like a few days before we came on.
Yeah.
But like we also said, you know, let's come up with something new. And, you know, again, our lives being our lives, as we said, as we reflected on to start the show, we have to work it out. So
I'm going to give you full credit on that, Dave, because you're the one who came up with the name Nerdy News.
It was literally, no, but I wasn't with the idea of a title. It was just like we could do something like a Nerdy News or something like that. I didn't even think of it as a title.
But it grew from there, and it is Nerdy News. So we have a lot to get through today.
We do indeed.
And the first thing I want to cover today, Dave, and obviously, you know, this week being a very, very big week. This day. Now, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, you know, you're listening to this on a Friday, but we record this on a Monday, and this is the Monday. This is the day that the greatest television show, and maybe not in your opinion, Dave, but in a lot of opinions.
I don't know.
The greatest television show of all time comes to an end today. Ladies and gentlemen, the very last Game of Thrones episode, Season 8, Episode 6, there we go, ended today. Dave, I'm very sad.
Well, it does feel like the end of an era, for a lot of people, because it's I can compare this. I don't know from experience, but I remember a lot of people were like this. Certainly when the end of Lost was happening, where it was a long series. I don't know how long. I imagine it was 8 seasons as well, whatever compared to the time it was. But whatever the case, I remember a few people were talking to me and they explained to me how much of a void it's going to be like now when it's gone.
Well, for me, it's a serious void because, you know, we've waited 2 years for the latest season, and it's 6 weeks are done and that's it. It's over. And I stayed up last night. I stayed up. It started at 2. It finished at 4. I stayed up to 4:30, kind of trying to take it all in, and but not only that, like I had a prediction league. For how we thought the Game of Thrones was going to end.
Yeah, by the way, so we had 3 episodes on Game of Thrones now, where we talked to, it was Justy, it was Kigo, and it was...
no, not Kigo.
Not Kigo?
No.
You sure you talked to Kigo about it?
No.
No, sorry, it was Rick, Justy, and...
Tony Kelly.
Tony Kelly, thank you. Sorry for getting you, Tony. But, yeah, and so, remember we all came up with a prediction, so... Again, I don't know. So how far away are we or how inaccurate were we in the end?
You see, I don't want to go into too many spoilers.
You can spoil to me if you want, but...
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I can spoil to you, that's fine, but the people listening might not want to be spoiled.
Where's it out on a Friday, lads? You had lots of time of the world.
True, yeah, okay, you kind of have a week, you know, so,
go
ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to put the spoiler alert?
Go ahead, yeah.
Red alert! Red alert!
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not watched the latest episode of Game of Thrones, or if you've not listened to the last Game of Low Blows, there we go. If you've not listened to the last one of those, with yours truly on that as well, then be warned, you're going to hear some spoilers now. In terms of our predictions, I got maybe one thing right, which I'm actually happy that I got one thing right. If I'd have gotten everything right, that'd have been really shit. I wouldn't have wanted to get that much right.
Would that be a sense of pride if you got that much right?
God, no, because I'm like, oh, God, no, I predicted all of this. Why did I do that? The only thing I predicted was, and I was very surprised I predicted it, was that the White Walkers would be defeated at the Battle of Winterfell, which, of course, was about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Episode 3. And I didn't predict anything else after that. I predicted that I said that Cersei wasn't pregnant. I said that Dany was pregnant. I said she was going to die in childbirth and this and that and the other. And none of it happened. None of it happened. Now, I watched that episode last night and I was texting our illustrious leader at the time.
Okay.
And he said for the last 20 minutes, and we were exactly the same. The last 20 minutes we just sat there with a smile on our face. Because it wasn't the ending that anybody would have envisioned. Nobody would have come up with that ending. Everyone had an ending, Daenerys was going to be on the throne, or Jon was going to be on the throne, or no one was going to be on the throne. So I won't actually get into the full details of how it ended, but nobody could have predicted that ending. But the last 20-25 minutes were just such a happy... You're not used to being happy watching Game of Thrones. You're used to be like, Jesus, what just happened? Or, oh, he killed him, or stuff like that. You don't expect to sit there with a massive smiley face looking at an actual happy ending.
A lot of bones breaking. In this case, it wasn't the case.
It was, I can see exactly what they meant, especially the showrunners and the actors saying that it was a bittersweet ending. Because it was a bittersweet ending. There was certain major character deaths, or one major character death in the last episode. It wasn't the bloodbath that a lot of people envisioned. The bloodbath happened last week in episode 5, which was called The Bells. I think it was 7 characters died last week. It was I think it was the biggest bloodbath in all of 8 seasons of Game of Thrones.
That's right.
The most amount of people died last week. This week, one person died, but it was probably one of the most important characters in the entire show from start to finish.
Okay.
It wasn't going to happen any other way. One of 2 or 3 major characters had to die. So it was just the way it was. They had to die. But the ending was just, it just comes right out of nowhere, and you're like, Jesus, where did they come up with this? But I loved it. I've been very critical of this series. I thought that at points it was rushed, or at points the writing wasn't very good. But I took the advice again of our illustrious leader, and I rewatched them. And I rewatched them, rather than just watching one, I rewatched them all together. And I liked them a whole lot better.
But that said,
after rewatching.
But that said, there's do you feel like it had to take you into multiple watches to be fully convinced of it? Because imagine when you watch it first time round, you should feel it there and then. Did you feel that at the time?
The first time I watched, I think this is going to be strange. First time I watched it, I liked it. Second time I watched it, I didn't like it. Third time I watched them all together, and I did get that feeling of, no, I like this.
Yeah.
To me, every season before this seemed like a television season.
Yeah.
But this season, when you watch them back to back, it's like one big long movie, and that's, I think, what they were going for. They wanted that big long movie feel.
This is each episode of the series in general?
The entire series. The entire season together seemed like one big long movie rather than a series, because a series, obviously, most seasons before this were 10 episodes. Last season was 7 episodes. This was 6. So they had a lot to cover, and there were things left out, they had to leave out. It was just too much information to stick into 6 episodes, despite the fact that 4 of the episodes were an hour and a half long. But it was just too much to put in. They hadn't enough time. They had to, they wanted to do this many episodes, and that was that. Despite the fact that HBO wanted them to do 2 more seasons, and despite the fact that the man who created the series, the book series in the first place, George R.R. Martin, wanted 2 more seasons. But the showrunner said, no, we've always wanted to have 70-odd episodes, and that was that. So they did. And to me, when I watched that episode last night, any misgivings I had for the previous 5 episodes were gone, because that, to me, tied up everything nice and neat and tidy. Absolutely loved it. 1 or 2 things that I thought maybe could have been different, but that's going to happen with everything. But what I want to talk about is that this absolutely absurd petition.
1.5 million it was?
It's probably 1.5 million now. The last time I looked, it was 1.2. It was probably 1.5 million. 1-point-something million people have signed a petition asking HBO to remake season 8, and it specifically says on it, with competent writers. Now, you've had the same writers for nearly 10 years. Why would you change them now?
Because people are selfish about what they thought was going to happen.
Exactly. People had in their head, this idea of how this show was going to end in their head, and when it didn't end like that, they were pissed off. And I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider all the hype that's gone into this series in particular, it's even... someone in my position doesn't watch it, it's unavoidable. There's so many side shows now. They had some sort of comedy discussion show, I think it was. Maybe it was the guys who did 8 or 10 Cats or something like that. Did a version of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Specifically, like where one of the guys were decided the Starks and the other bunch of guys were decided the Lannisters.
Lannisters, yeah. Two of the actual actors that were on the show were on each team.
Yeah.
And it was Sue Perkins who does... she has her own show. Basically, it's the show after the episode airs, where they discuss what's happened in the episode and whatnot. And she hosted that. So much Game of Thrones out there.
Yeah.
So much
Plus
Game of
Amelia
Thrones.
Clark is on Jimmy Fallon, or Kit Harington is on Stephen Colbert, or whoever else is on Jimmy Kimmel's show.
They're absolutely everywhere. But, the actors have come out and said that, some of them have come out and said that they weren't entirely happy with either how their character arcs ended or how the series ended and whatnot. But they think they say themselves that it's so selfish of people to expect HBO to redo a series just because you don't like it. This is how, from start to finish, this is how it is.
Imagine how Sean Bean feels. He probably had the most beloved character a lot, and
the fact that after 8 seasons he's still talked about in the show, and he only lasted in the very first season.
There you go.
He died in the second last episode.
Well, I don't expect him to complain because most of his characters die. So that's another story.
Well, I think that's in his contract now. He just has it in make sure I die. But
has there ever been a movie he hasn't died in?
I'd imagine there has.
There's some football movie I remember he was part of. I don't think he died in that, but again, I don't know.
There has to be something he hasn't died in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know anything that Sean Bean has not died in,
tweet us in.
Please tweet us in. Actually, do we?
I have my
Gerry Soul is my Twitter.
We'll certainly comment on it. We'll be talking about the show at Gerry Talk Nerdy to me on Instagram. So,
well, you've got do hashtag Ask Gerry. There you go. Hashtag Ask Gerry. Get on that.
See, you say I'm smart with the
there you go. Nerd. See, you're not just a pretty bird.
This is you, not me, you're talking about.
Or if you want to get me, you can get me on Instagram. It's Gerry Talk Nerdy to me on Instagram. So awesome. at Gerry Talk Nerdy to me on Instagram. But Game of Thrones has absolutely polarized the world, and some people love it, some people hate it. But now it's over. Now their watch is ended and it's over and done with.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on now.
Yeah.
You've got Marvel Endgame.
Of course.
Came out a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I went to see it. And a lot of people are watching Endgame. A lot of people are actually like Game of Thrones. Some people love it, some people hate it. I loved the film, and I have absolutely no problem in saying that I cried.
That's not true. I did considering everything that went into it,
there was, and normally I would give a spoiler alert at this point, but the fact that, Dave, you have not seen it yet,
and intend to see it,
so I'm not going to mention any spoilers in it. But what I want to point out with this is, Marvel Endgame ended the current season of Marvel movies.
Right.
So we're now moving on, not season, but the current phase of Marvel movies, and then we move on to the next phase of Marvel movies, and we're going to have new heroes coming in. There's so much happening. You've got the new Spider-Man film, brand new trailer came out there recently. Looks to be absolutely fantastic, and just a continuation of what the amazing Marvel movies that have come out. But let's talk about Endgame for a second. We won't, no spoilers or anything like that, but it has the biggest box office opening weekend of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It is breaking box office records all over the world, and the current standing is of the Endgame box office 2.6 billion. 2.6 billion.
Wow.
Dave. They are literally fingertips on the trophy of biggest all-time movie. They're just behind Avatar. Avatar is still sitting on that throne of, I think, 2.8 billion, something like that. Literally, Endgame is only a couple of hundred million behind. Guaranteed it's going to do it by the time it leaves the cinemas.
100%.
Because now, this week it was knocked off the box office top list in the box office in America by John Wick. The new John Wick movie came out. Not seen any. Have you seen any of the John Wicks?
It's something I intend to watch.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just haven't. Be honest.
You want to watch it for the sake of Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is just amazing.
You know what I'm saying?
He's just amazing. But I haven't watched any of them yet, so I can't actually comment on any of them. But John Wick 3 did topple Endgame off the weekend box office list there at the minute. But it's still in the cinema. It's still making huge amount of money. It still has certain markets to go into as well, so it's guaranteed to be beating Avatar sometime soon. But if you haven't seen Endgame, ladies and gentlemen, what the hell have you been doing with your life? Get out and watch it. Dave!
I got a new job. I can do well. So,
There's always excuses. You're just lucky you have a nice beard. I'll stroke that later.
No, you won't.
Now, Dave, we're going to move on to another thing now. This is not something that I've seen, so I like the fact that people listen to me and talk about nerdy things. Now you have some stuff for us.
Yeah. So last week, people who follow Black Mirror, they're following the success of Netflix's own choose your own adventure style Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which was actually a season where but it was really unusual and comfortable watching. I only watched parts of season one, a couple of episodes of season one, but the last season they did was a season called Bandersnatch, where basically it was a choose your own adventure style. It's like one of these video games where you just choose what happens next and they follow on from it.
Oh, I love that.
So that was season 4. The season now is returning to its proper form with and its new trailer was just released last week, and it's more star-studded than usual. The likes of Miley Cyrus and Topher Grace from That 70s Show are among the cast that are going to be part of this season.
Wow.
And like the season 1 and 2, it's only going to be comprised of 3 episodes. That's all you need, because because that's the thing. It's really now if you're not familiar with the premises of the show, Netflix describes it as an anthology series that taps into our collective unease with the modern world, with each standalone episode a sharp, sustainable tale exploring themes of contemporary techno-paranoia, leading to an unforgettable and sometimes unsettling conclusion. And that couldn't sum it up. They also went on to say, without questioning it, technology has transformed all aspects of our lives, in every home, in every desk, in every palm, plasma screen monitor, smartphone, a Black Mirror reflecting our 21st century existence backs at it. But by God, I mean, you have to watch some of the episodes. The very first episodes, the very first episode from season 1 in itself is by far the most disturbing. Now, have you heard about all this stuff with David Cameron, like all this stuff about during the end of his reign as Prime Minister in the UK about all this pig fucking thing and stuff like that?
I wouldn't know a lot about it, but I did hear about him possibly fucking a pig's head. Well,
apparently it was some sort of college thing to get up to. The very first episode, the Prime Minister, I don't know the actor's name, it was the same guy who played M's assistant in Skyfall. I don't know his name. No, remember Skyfall? Judi Dench had an assistant.
Yes,
that guy. He was Prime Minister, and he woke up to the news that one of the royal princesses was kidnapped, and he has 12 hours to meet the demands. Otherwise, she'll die. Okay. And the demands were that you must publicly fuck a pig.
Wow.
And
is it a live pig or a dead pig?
Live pig.
Not that it matters.
So they tried everything to try catch the guy. They tried to get all the surveillance and stuff like that, to see where the video came from. They tried to go by some sort of technology by following. It was a public YouTube video that they discovered it. It was taken down minutes later, but there was enough of it there to still see if they can track it down. And they thought they had him. But what happened was then some TV station who was trying to get all scoops on the story, they were sent like a finger, like an actual finger from a human with a ring on it. They then got another video of apparently this person cutting off the princess's finger with the ring on it, meaning that this guy means business. Yeah. And they couldn't find the man, so they almost ended up having a porn star go in and pretend he was going to fuck a pig instead, and have some sort of green screen thing. But at the end of the day, they had to give in, and the man actually had to publicly on TV in some sort of room somewhere, with the help of Viagra and so on, actually fuck a pig. Now, here's what's weird about it. The guy wasn't even a terrorist who done this. He was an artist. He wanted to do this, make this the most unsettling piece of art of all time, or something like that. And the finger that was sent to the station the TV station was actually his own. He got the princess's ring and put it on his own hand.
So he cut off his own finger.
And by the time the video went out, and by the time the art went out, was the time the Prime Minister was out there, the guy hung himself. So
you just basically wanted to be remembered. That's what
it was some sort. It was
That's
basically
what
an
it looks
artistic statement somehow.
like. Dave, I have to. You're telling me to watch this show? That sounds so strange.
It is strange.
I have heard about the show, but I haven't given it a go yet. But as weird as that sounds,
It's intriguing.
I am intrigued by that. And the what did you say? The fourth seat, Bandersnatch, is that it?
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. I'm really intrigued by that. The fact that you get to choose your own path, basically, because there's
Say Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. Because if you're like me, if you're a big gamer, I'm a huge gamer. I love stuff like that. I love anything to do with games, but especially there's a series on the PlayStation called Telltale Games, and they do a lot of different ones.
Similar example.
You've got The Walking Dead, you've got Batman, and my favourite one, and I was very disappointed they only did one season of it, which was Game of Thrones. And you follow this family supposedly loyal to the Starks in Game of Thrones, and you just completely get fucked over.
To a degree, it's like Grand Theft Auto 5 as well, where you have like multiple you can have 3 different endings.
Yeah.
Like that's happened a few times in the GTA games actually, when not just GTA 5 but GTA 4.
Other games have done it as well. It seems to be a very popular thing to do.
But for a TV series to do that,
that's the only thing that I can compare that to is actually End of Sopranos. Obviously, there's 2 endings to The Sopranos.
I didn't know that.
One that was actually the one that was televised.
Oh,
and then there was another one that
okay.
was made. One was, it's out years now. If you've not seen The Sopranos, then you're not going to see it. But they're sitting in their favourite booth in their favourite restaurant, and it goes out, and you just see the camera panning away from the restaurant, cuts to black, and it's over.
Right.
Whereas the alternative ending is exact same. They're sitting in their favourite booth in their favourite restaurant, goes outside, is panning away, and you hear gunshots, and then it goes to black.
Ah.
So it's definitely an interesting way to end them. I like multiple endings. I'm not going to lie. I do like the idea of that. So I'll have to give that a go. That's a definite, Dave. That's a definite. We're going to move right on now. A brand new trailer for a brand new series came out this week. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are talking about it. It's the new Batwoman series.
Absolutely. So CW's Catwoman's trailer is finally landing, showcasing Ruby Rose in the role of Gotham's newest savior after Batman goes absent, apparently, as the story goes. So the story of Ruby Rose's Batwoman began back in July 2018, where the CW ordered the series, knowing that the character would soon be featured within the network's Elseworld crossover event. Just a few weeks later, Ruby Rose was awarded the role, with the CW greenlighting a pilot early this year, after presumably liking what they saw from the production team. And the take, to just give you an idea of it, like the take on the character reads, armed with a passion in social injustice and a flair for speaking her mind, Kate Kane, the name of the character, soars into the streets of Gotham as Batwoman, an out lesbian and highly trained street fighter. I'm reading this, by the way.
Yeah.
Primed to sniff out the failing city's criminal resurgence. But don't call her a hero yet. In a city desperate for a savior, Kate must overcome her own demons before embracing the call to be Gotham's symbol of hope.
Now, I have to say, I didn't read that before I watched the trailer, so you don't expect to see her kissing another woman immediately in the trailer. Now, no problem with that at all. Absolutely not. It's absolutely fantastic take on the character. When you see Ruby Rose, I think you immediately, when you see her, you think, well, she kind of plays. She looks like more of a Catwoman than a Batwoman.
Yes.
To me, that's what I thought. When I seen her, she looks more of a Catwoman. When I seen her in the full suit in the trailer, I was like, oh, now this is interesting. And I like the fact that Batman has gone missing. He's gone AWOL. He's like, you know what? Screw Gotham. I'm going off to live my life elsewhere.
Not having it anymore.
No, not having it. And the fact that Ruby Rose has gotten the role. Fantastic actress. Absolutely loved her in Orange is the New Black. She was fantastic in that. If you've not watched that, Dave, you need to watch that. You need to get on that.
I'm far behind.
So it's definitely an interesting take on the Batwoman. Now, listen, listeners, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know of any of the comics that have Batwoman as lesbian. I don't know that. If there is one, let me know. At Gerry, talk nerdy to me. Get on to me, because I want to know. I want to know, is this something absolutely brand new? Is this something unique to television? Or have we seen something like this before in the comics? Because I don't know.
The way I see it, I don't think I'd be surprised if it's based on a comic, but I would say it's probably somehow the comic story, but it's given maybe a 2018 feel to it, if that makes sense.
Well, there seems to be a kind of recurring thing here where there has to be some sort of gay storyline or something along the lines of that, and I have no problem with that at all. And this seems to be kind of continuing that trend. It definitely seems like it's going to be action packed. She looks fantastic in the suit. She looks like she was, she's been doing it for years. When she's in that suit, she actually looks like, she's been doing this for years.
The only thing I'd say, and this is probably probably words for me to say this, but you know how Batman says, "I'm Batman."
Yeah,
I'm curious how that would.
I'm Batwoman. I doubt she's going to do the voice. Like the whole, when it came.
I've Ben Affleck's thing where you have some sort of speaker. Like, I don't know.
You see, I like the speaker because it distorted his voice. But
you
see, my favourite Batman is Michael Keaton. And the fact that he didn't really put on a voice, he just went, "I'm Batman." Whereas Christian Bale, "I'm Batman."
Christian Bale literally had to go to the depths of his bowels to get that voice.
He was clearly constipated when he was doing, "I'm Batman." That's the way it sounded.
You wanted me. Here I am.
That was very good, Dave. Fairness.
Yeah,
but this series looks like it could be, because let's be honest. When it comes to the two different universes, okay, you've got the Marvel and you've got the DC. Marvel absolutely killing it in the cinema, absolutely killing it. Not so much in the TV series.
But that's where DC are coming.
DC are kicking ass.
They have so many good shows. They have Flash. They have Arrow. They have fucking Gotham right now.
Gotham only finished. But this seems to be like it's continuing on.
Yeah,
it's continuing on.
It'll be even better. Like I hope this turns into a case where it's a follow-on from Gotham. If that's the case, which it could easily be.
It could be. We don't really know many details about it, so let's hope that's what it is. But DC are absolutely killing it. As you say, you've got Flash, you've got Arrow, you've got now you have Batwoman, you've got Super. Is it Supergirl or Superwoman? Supergirl. So many really, really strong characters in those series. Not just the named characters of the show. So many good, strong characters in it as well.
Like, it certainly seems like, although, like, in a way they're still doing something. They're still introducing new characters. Mm-hmm. They're not incorporating them into the movies as great as Marvel are. They're putting everything, more or less, most of everything towards the movies. And rightly so. It seems like there's several stories or different stories that DC are playing, not putting everything into almost one situation or one big timeline. Like, they're doing several timelines at the same time, if that makes sense.
Exactly. The thing with DC is that, they haven't been on par with Marvel in terms of the movies. And that's very, very evident. But the last two...
and that's coming from a Superman fan. Like,
there you go.
Like, I want to be biased, but I can't. Like,
you've got, Man of Steel. Was okay.
I enjoyed it.
And then Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice was okay. We had my good friend Robbie in there a little while ago to talk about Batman.
He was right about everything he said.
He really was. He was okay. Marvel Woman skyrocketed, absolutely fantastic.
Easily the best movie they've made.
Absolutely fantastic.
Since Dark Knight Rises, the best movie they've made.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Then was brought back down by the Justice League. Wasn't very good.
Suicide Squad.
Again, I don't know. Am I including Suicide Squad in that?
I think you should.
I liked it.
It's part of the of it, so therefore
I liked it, but again, it was slated by certain people. They didn't like Jared Leto's Joker, and I particularly liked Will Smith. I thought he was fantastic in it.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, absolutely psychotically amazing, absolutely brilliant.
100%.
Then you've got Aquaman, and Aquaman started to bring us back out of the shadows again. Really liked Aquaman, action-packed. Jason Momoa, one of my favourite actors out there at the minute.
Have you seen Shazam yet?
And then we go to Shazam. What did you think of Shazam?
That's what I'm asking you.
I really liked it.
It's something different, isn't it?
You see, I think a lot of the previous movies, they tried to get a lot more humor into Justice League, didn't really work. When it came to the Superman movie and then Batman vs Superman movie, there wasn't enough humor in it. So I think when it came to Shazam and Aquaman, they said, "Oh, we need to go all out with the humor here, lads. Let's do it." Shazam was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Have you seen it?
No, me too. Again,
hey, for the love of God, what are you doing? What are you doing to me here?
I don't know. I have no excuse whatsoever.
I have to say I absolutely loved it. So you know what? Personally, I would like to see a Batwoman go into the Justice League, or to go into the movies at least.
Why not?
So let's see how Ruby Rose does as Batwoman. I'm hoping she does really well.
But it certainly seems like as well that now DC's most intriguing people will also be making a return very soon. If we may move on now.
Oh,
because the Batman is probably the most intriguing property that Warner Brothers and DC have, arguably.
Yeah, well, you've got the two big boys. You've got Batman and Superman. And
with Ben Affleck departing the role and Matt Reeves now picking up the reins as writer and director, no one really knows what to expect now, and they're still beginning to take form nonetheless now. And they've recently announced the new Batman that's been cast, and it may come as a surprise to some, but the new Cape Crusader is going to be Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Now, it seems like weird. Now, this was announced 3 days ago, or at least 3 days ago from when we're recording this.
Yeah.
It was announced by Variety dropped the news on, I believe it was Friday evening. The Robert Pattinson casting, Matt Reeves' list of potential players were narrowed down. It was up to him and apparently Nicholas Hoult, who played, it was a guy who's the Beast in the X-Men movies.
Yeah, I seen that as well. Now, is there an actual confirmation that Pattinson has the role?
It seems that it's more
seems
confirmed
like
than that.
He's the favourite. Anyway.
Or certainly, if it's not official, it's he's certainly the heavy favourite.
We're about 90% there with him. I actually had this discussion with my good friend Robbie that we had on the show there a while ago. The other day when we first heard this news, and my initial reaction was, "Oh Jesus, what are they doing?" But then when I actually sat down and talked about it, no, let's give the guy a chance. We have no idea what way this is going to turn out. Once he doesn't get nipples or comes out sparkly, then he's going to be doing okay. That's exactly what Batman is not. He's not sparkly, and he doesn't have nipples on his suit like George bloody Clooney.
Well, here's the thing that I just by reading this here now, like apparently, Robert Pattinson has a bit of a loose tie with two Batman. As he's going to be casting Christopher Nolan's next movie. No, it's not known what that is. It's very well shielded. It's as a Nolan movie would be. But Pattinson is very committed to that the script is very unreal. So that could be a tie. Obviously, for those who don't know Robert Pattinson, just in case, he's well known for playing Edward Cullen in the 4 Twilight movies and for being Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, I certainly preferred him in the Goblet of Fire because just a sparkly vampire just did nothing for me.
Do you have any idea how many people call me a vampire because of him?
Call you a vampire?
We share the same surname.
Oh.
See, I am pale. I don't like the sun that often. But still. Let's call it...
Oh, I just don't,
He's a good-looking man, so if we're related, I'll take it.
In fairness, he's a good-looking fella. His acting ability is not in question, because I think he's a fantastic actor.
100%.
So I'm gonna save judgment for when he is actually in the role, in the suit. I want to see what the suit looks like. I want to see how he takes on the role, because I don't know how they slot him in. I don't know how they slot him into these movies.
Well, I'll leave you with this. There isn't many details, obviously, about what Matt Reeves is planning to, but he previously described the project as a noir Batman tale, where he teased that it's told very squarely on the shoulders, and I hope it's going to be a story that will be thrilling but also emotional. It's more Batman in his detective mode than we've seen in the films. The comics has a history that he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, and it's not necessarily being a part of what the movies have been. I'd love this to be one where we would go on that journey by tracking down the criminals and trying to solve a crime. It's going to allow his character to have an arc that he can go through a transformation. Now, I don't know. That seems
to me that doesn't sound like it's going to be part of the actual Justice League universe. That just to me seems to be completely standalone.
That seems more Bruce Wayne than Batman.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's interesting to me. Like the initial when I first saw the possibility of him being Batman, And then another person put up on, I was thinking about what he could do, and then another person put up on Facebook. What about Batman Beyond? I think it's Batman Beyond. I'm not 1,000,000% about that.
They're doing something for that, are they?
But Batman, let's just say he was the new Batman, and the original Bruce Wayne was Michael Keaton, and he was, this has been done. This has been done in the comics. It's been done in a TV cartoon series. I would love that. Michael Keaton back as the original Bruce Wayne, basically being mentor to a new Batman, and him being.
Once it's not George Clooney, I'm happy.
No, Jesus, no, not George Clooney. But you know what? I will reserve judgment until it comes out, because I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting. I like the idea of him being more of a detective than anything else. Obviously, he's still going to be in his suit. He's still going to fight crime. It doesn't necessarily have to. You could go back to the same kind of style that Nolan had, where it's not necessarily supernatural. It's technology. Yeah, and that's how he works.
Well, you might think this is weird to compare to this, but the last time I seen Batman the movie, where he was sort of like a detective, and this might seem strange, was Batman Forever. Now think about that. When Val Kilmer was trying to come up with all those clues to nail down what the Riddler's true identity was, with all the it was sort of detective-y.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
When you look at...
Not to draw comparisons to it, obviously, but...
Take a couple of things, right? So you take a couple of things from the very first Batman movie, so the first Michael Keaton with Jack Nicholson Joker. He was very much in detective mode in that one, trying to figure out how... this guy came into basically to power,
right?
Before he was turned into Joker. Then you see a little bit more detective work in Batman Returns, when he has to figure out, the background of the Penguin and then the circus group that he's with, and things like that. So it doesn't go in depth into it. I'd like it a little bit more in depth. I think that would be good. I think it would be good. I think, let's see how that one goes. Let's see how that one goes out. Our second last item on our agenda, Dave, and it's another one for you.
Okay.
Is it a Netflix series?
Yeah, so back in July, Netflix announced a slate of projects, both series and films, that will be hitting the streaming service thanks to the collaboration of renowned comic writer Mark Millar. As if it wasn't enough, Netflix also published a brand new comic by Miller back in June, and the duo decides to adapt a project into a series. And it was revealed, I believe, last week as well, that James Wan will be directing a show called The Magic Order, which will be piloted very soon. The trailer is already out now on YouTube. But the synopsis of the show reads: 5 families of musicians sworn to protect our world must battle an enemy who's picking them off one by one. By day they live among us as our neighbours, friends and co-workers, but by night they're the sorcerers, magicians and wizards that protect us from the forces of darkness unless the darkness gets them first. Very interestingly, I think you'll like this, Miller previously described the comic as The Sopranos meets Harry Potter, a magical fantasy crime thing.
Oh, I like that.
The trailer above definitely would deliver certainly Potter vibes, but this description of it being Sopranos-esque certainly makes it very intriguing, doesn't it?
That to me, and so what I get from that is, okay, it's a modern day fantasy. So you've got magicians and sorcerers and things like that fighting evil, but in a modern day feel to it. So it's not like Game of Thrones or whatever. But Game of Thrones has been described as the fantasy Sopranos. That's exactly what it is, because there's so many twists and turns, backstabbings, things just, literally so many RKOs in that show. Just out of nowhere these things come from.
Absolutely.
So that sounds very interesting to me. And the fact that it was Harry Potter meets Sopranos,
The Magic Order is lured for comic form when its 6th issue released between June and February, and Netflix has confirmed that issue 1 is the highest selling comic book launch in the last 20 years. Whoa. The entire 6th issue is now available as one complete graphic novel, and there's no time stream as to when the Magic Order show, that's Magic Order, that's what it's called, will begin streaming. But Wan has announced that direct episode 1 will be likely to debut at some point next year.
Oh,
so certainly
you see, this is the thing.
To sink your teeth into next year.
When it comes to people and Game of Thrones, a lot of people their life is over now. But when you hear stuff like this coming out, and stuff like Batman and Black Mirror's new season and all this stuff that's going to be coming out, you're excited for what's in the future. You know, you can't just sit on your arse and think, well, that's it. My life is over. Game of Thrones is done. What will I do now? No, move on with your life.
Get a hobby.
And
fast.
Or find a woman. Or or find a man.
If you like
whatever you're into, find whatever.
If you like Game of Thrones that much, be one of those guys who make swords. Be a blacksmith.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Forge with Fire. Oh yeah. Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, that's a show. That's a show.
We could be on that show. I'd love to go on that show.
I don't know if I could take the heat.
Oh, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen now. There we go.
That's why I don't cook.
I'm going to end on this one, and this was literally by pure chance that we decided to add this to the list.
Yes.
I was talking to Wifey there about 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Oh, what am I going to do? Like, I need something new. I need something new to watch. Game of Thrones is finishing soon. What am I going to watch? I need something new." And she said, "Well, does it have to be like Game of Thrones?" Like, no, anything. Give me something good. What have you been watching? What new thing have you been watching? She says, "Well, there's this show on Netflix," and I said, "I've been watching it for a while and I really like it." I said, "What is it? It's a Peaky Blinders."
Yes.
I am hooked.
It's so good.
To the point where I binged watched the shit. This is the danger with shows on Netflix is the binge watch.
I can't binge watch. Like, that's the thing. Like, we talked about this before we recorded, and you're already on season 4.
I'm on season 4.
I'm halfway through season 2. I can't binge watch.
Within a week and a half, I'm on season 4.
I can't watch any more than 2 episodes a week. Or a day, I should say, sorry. So, like, I can't do that. Like, no, just my brain isn't wired like that. But it's such a good show.
I've been coming home from work, and, you know, I come home and I have a bit to eat and, you know, actually talk with my family and interact with them. I put my son to sleep. But then when I come down and I'm pottering about, I was like, I have this lovely setup in the kitchen where I have Google Chrome connected to the TV, and then I have a Google Home Mini.
Oh, lovely.
But I've got it all connected to the TV, so I literally go into the kitchen and go, "Hey Google, play Peaky Blinders on kitchen TV," and it just comes straight up.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So as I'm pottering about, might be doing dishes or testing out, because I have a lot of new podcasts and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of new stuff. So I've been just sitting there and kind of playing with it and testing it and whatnot. I do occasionally like to paint. Now, that might sound strange, but I do like to paint. We're not talking about pictures here now, Dave, like models and stuff like that.
Well, it's ironic because the garrison needs to be redone. So
yes, well, there you go. Well, from where I am. You see, I'm a lot further along than you, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
No, seriously, I don't want to. I'm not going to say where I am either. Like, I'll just say I'm halfway through season 2. But mother of gods, like,
it's so good.
The characters are so intriguing as well. I'm becoming such a fan of Arthur.
Arthur is brilliant.
Arthur's brilliant.
He is brilliant. Now, saying that,
no, because here's the thing: he presents himself as sort of like the dumb one at the start. Like, he was the one who just got drunk.
Well,
all
he
the
was
time.
the eldest, so you assume that the eldest would be the one to take over the family business.
So it's him, but then it's Tommy who's taken over, and here's Finn in the background, who seems like he could take over later on. Like, you know.
Well, you've got obviously Tommy, who is played by Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy's character.
Fantastic Birmingham accent.
And you get stuck into it, don't you?
You really do.
You're treated sometimes alone by the accents.
Yeah.
It's all Pete Dunstall's.
What I find strange is the fact that you've got an Irishman going over to do a Birmingham accent, and then you've got a couple of Irish people in the show that aren't doing Irish accents. Now, there are a couple of Irish people that are doing Irish accents. There's
Major Campbell's character.
Major Campbell. Now, Major Campbell, in fact, that's Sam Neill. He's bloody Australian or New Zealand.
Is he?
Yeah.
Really?
He's not from the north. It's only slight. Every now and then you'll hear a word, or you'll hear a certain pronunciation of something, and it's like, oh no, that's terrible.
I'm convinced by that Belfast accent.
Oh, it's very good. He's a very, very good Belfast accent, and I love Major Campbell. Sam Neill, one of my favourite actors. Absolutely.
And now that since I won't say like how he. But certainly the way he presents himself on season 2 onwards, where the way he can hear him from distance now, I think
it's just. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the clink.
It's stone feckin' cold.
I love it. Absolutely love it. But there are characters in it that are portraying an Irish accent that aren't actually Irish. I always find that really weird. You've got Irish people doing a Birmingham accent. You've got a Birmingham,
or certainly from the Lee side of the family.
Yes.
Anyway. Like, what's Finn's wife's name again?
No, you mean John's wife.
Is it John's wife?
John's wife. John...
Finn's the youngest.
Finn is the youngest, yeah.
Yeah.
John is May.
Yeah, thank you.
Is May.
Yeah.
Now, you see, that's just it. Some of the Lees have an Irish accent, and some of the Lees have a Birmingham accent, so it's really weird. You know, they're kind of his main contact with the Lees. He's a heavy Irish accent, and that is his actual accent. I can't remember the name of the character. But it's so good.
I know, right?
Like Cillian Murphy, he's so good.
The way, if you haven't seen it before, here's how we can sell it to you, okay? Like, so we can give you like an idea from the very first episode. So it all starts really when so Tommy Shelby, Cillian Murphy's character, he's the head of this this gang who runs like the working parts of Birmingham.
Yeah,
and his comrade in war, we'll say. Which was what was his name again? Who was running the Communist Party and put all the guys on strike. What's his name again?
God, only watched it last week.
I know. Well, the point is, like, they're sort of on weird.
Ada's husband, basically. Ada's husband.
Yeah.
So Ada is Tommy's sister.
Yeah.
And she gets pregnant for Tommy's best friend, who grew up with, and they went to war with. But when they came back, they had different ideals.
Yeah.
Tommy wanted to continue his family business, whereas his friend
became a communist. No, do I saying he became a communist?
Yeah, no, he's a communist. So, you know, Tommy and his family run an illegal betting shop, and they want to basically become bigger boys. You know, they don't want to be small fries anymore. They want to become bigger. So they're targeting bigger gangsters, and that's how the series begins. And you've got this Northern Ireland policeman coming over, Major Campbell, coming over to try and disrupt them because. What's actually happened is
under Winston Churchill's orders as well.
Exactly.
And bear in mind, this was before he became Prime Minister.
Exactly. He was only like Foreign Minister or something then.
Yeah, I think it was Home Secretary, actually.
Home Secretary.
Because he wouldn't have been given the orders if it was Foreign Secretary.
What's actually happened is, you know, it starts off with Tommy Shelby and his family wanting to become bigger fish in the pond. But basically, the reason that Major Campbell is there is that a large consignment of weapons that were due to be sold to another country have gone missing.
Yeah, Freddie Thorpe, by the way.
Freddie Thorpe, that's the exact one. And a large consignment of weapons has gone missing, and nobody seems to know exactly where these guns have gone, except for the main man himself, Tommy Shelby.
And he doesn't tell many people anything.
No.
He doesn't even tell...
He's very secretive.
Yeah, and he doesn't even tell Polly. Now, Polly's like the second in command for better... Like, she's like... she's Tommy's auntie.
She's Tommy's aunt, and she basically... this is set in the time frame of the First World War. So, basically, it's 1919, I think, when the series begins. I
believe so.
And what's happened is, obviously... Tommy and his brothers all went to war. Well, the ones that were old enough went to war. So you've got John, you've got Arthur, and you've got Tommy. They all went to war with Freddie. And they all came back different men. War changed them. To the point where even one of the guys that Tommy was in war with, one of his friends, he'll hear a sound or he'll hear somebody say something and he'll just start going crazy. Just his mind goes. To the point where he accidentally stabs a waiter. An Italian waiter one day. And I, you know, I'm not going to go into too much things. We obviously don't want to spoil anything for people. If you've not watched Peaky Blinders, please watch it. It is absolutely fantastic. The four seasons of it are on Netflix. The fifth season is going to be out very, very soon.
And it gets better as it goes along. Because you'll see some surprising people who'll turn up there, and by God, they do themselves justice in each and every one of their roles.
The actors, some of the actors that have come into this, like you look at...
What's
his fucking name?
Well, should we name names?
Well, we don't have to name characters. We just name the actors.
All right. Well, Tom Hardy.
I was going to forever even call Tom Brady there. Don't ask me about stupid American football. Tom Hardy. Oh, one of the best actors in the world, and his portrayal of his character, I won't go into it, is amazing.
It is indeed.
Absolutely amazing. Again, another actor. I'm not gonna go into character details. He comes in season 4. Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
One of the biggest actors in the world.
Wow.
Now he's gone very quiet as of late on the last couple of years, but he is one of the biggest actors in the world, and he is in Peaky Blinders. That is a huge step up in terms of the type of actors they're getting in. Obviously, the actors that have been on the show have been amazing, but they get the star power of the likes of Sam Neill, Cillian Murphy, Adrian Brody, Tom Hardy. This is an all-star cast, absolutely. And from start to finish, there's not a bad episode.
Oh, listen.
Not a bad episode.
Now, my main concern was, like, you know, this is just a personal taste, but, like, I sense, I don't know if you've seen this in season 2 yourself, but you can judge for yourself if you get that far, if any binge watchers out there. But, like, do you ever notice, like, from beyond season 2, I found it has maybe one or too many subplots.
There can be a lot to follow.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely, yeah.
I remember watching one episode from season 2 thinking, God, how many things have just happened? You know?
Yeah, you see, because there's so many characters,
much.
they're trying to give them all their own arc, and you can't really do that. But saying that, there's not a bad episode. Every single one of them. The intricacies of it. The writing of the show is fantastic. You know, to come up with all these little subplots and all these little basically out of nowhere moments, because there are out of nowhere moments in this. Now I'm on season 4, and it just gets better, like, and it's bigger.
Yeah,
it's so much, like, as you know, as big as the show got in season 1 and 2, it's so much bigger in season 4.
Imagine.
I'm only halfway through now, and the things that have been happening, I'm like, holy shit, what the hell? What happens now? You know, so there's so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've given you a lot to think about there. We've talked about Game of Thrones, we've talked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Black Mirror, Batwoman, Batman, the Magic Order.
This is the easiest nerdiest show I've ever done.
What's that?
This is easiest nerdiest show I've ever done.
Oh, it's definitely nerdiest show. But that's just it. Would you consider Peaky Blinders nerdy? No.
Well, I mean, it is niche, and therefore it's nerdy.
Well, I suppose. Yeah,
not everyone would like it. It's for a
but that's just
audience.
it. Like, everyone assumes that when you say the word nerd or nerdy, you're saying, you know, Star Wars, Star Trek. Like,
okay,
it's not. It's what's nerdy to you.
Exactly. And so many people watch Game of Thrones, but that doesn't make that doesn't. But would you call those people nerdy? Especially when how many people wrote that petition?
The petition was up to, I think it's up to 1.5 million.
So when that many people do it, is it considered nerdy anymore? It doesn't matter. Like, in the day.
No, no. 1.5 million people that sign a petition isn't considered nerdy. It's called lunacy. Yeah, absolute lunacy. But
I suppose
we'll leave that there. You know, nerd. You know, this show, talk nerdy to me. You immediately think the likes of Star Wars, the likes of Star Trek, stuff like that, sci-fi. But that's not what this show is about.
It doesn't have to
It's
be.
about what's nerdy to you.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have people on in the near future, and I'm not going to name names or anything yet, but we're going to have people on in the near future that are going to come in and talk about Disney. Now, Disney is generally about cartoons, and it's about Mickey Mouse, and it's about all the different films, you know, Pocahontas and Snow White and stuff like that.
But when they come
That's
on,
not nerdy.
But when they come on, they're going to talk incredibly, having such a huge in-depth knowledge about it, and talking in such great detail about it.
Exactly. This show is not just about sci-fi. It's not just about Star Trek or Star Wars. It's about whatever you love.
Absolutely.
It's about whatever you're nerdy about. You know, if somebody comes in and you know, if, you know, I'm not going to call somebody an alcoholic here, but if somebody wants to come on here and talk about alcohol and different types of alcohol, and, you know, and what they like about it, and what they, you know, that's what they're nerdy about. They're nerdy about alcohol. You know, there's a great guy that used to be on the Low Blows podcast, and that was Don Marnell. Don Marnell is a brand ambassador for Guinness, so he knows what he's talking about when it comes to Guinness. But he is nerdy about his job. He absolutely loves his job.
He could tell you probably in great detail the difference between the West Indies Porter Guinness and the pint of Guinness here.
Exactly. You know, doesn't make him an alcoholic. Well, you know, we'll have to have a little chat with him about that. But he is
very cans around his belts.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a man who has wanted to create his own beer, and he has been doing that while he was in Dublin. He's now no longer here. He's over in Australia now. He's living there now as the brand ambassador over there, and whatever jobs he's doing, he doesn't consider it a job anymore. That's his life now. That's how he absolutely loves it. He's been moved to Australia to continue his career and continue his job. That's what he's nerdy about. He's nerdy about it. No, he's nerdy about wrestling as well, but that's what he's nerdy about. I'm nerdy about many, many things. I love Disney. I love Marvel. I love Game of Thrones. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. All of that. I'm nerdy about it all. Dave, what are you nerdy about?
I don't know, Peaky Blinders. I don't know.
You love Peaky Blinders, but you love your music.
I do love
You know,
music.
you're a musician.
No, I do
You're
love my-
creating new music every day. You play other artists' music.
I do love my metal music, let's put it
There
that
you
way.
go. You're nerdy about metal.
Yeah.
So that's just it. Who would ever say I'm nerdy about metal? We need to get away from this term of it being like almost a bad thing. Oh, look at that nerd. Look at, he's on his computer, he's a nerd, he likes Star Wars. That's not what it is. Being nerdy about something is basically, what do you love? That's what I love. This is what I love. Talking about this, I love talking about it. I'm nerdy about talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. That's what I love coming on and talking to you about it and talking to guests about it, talking about new things all the time. I didn't know anything about Black Mirror. I'm now going to try Black Mirror. I'm really looking forward to now the Magic
Just
Order.
watch that first episode, and go from there.
Exactly.
But you will be disturbed. I guarantee you. And it's not, and like you don't see any detail about the event, if that makes sense. But you don't even need to.
When it comes to the stuff like that, I'm so desensitized to stuff. My very first horror movie I watched when I was 5.
Oh, okay. See, I'm very slow in that department.
Now, this wasn't my choice, Dave. My grandmother, she used to take me after school every day, and she used to say to me, Gerry, would you like to watch something on the TV? And I said, yes, Nanny, what will we watch? She said, would you like to watch something about a doll? I said, I don't like dolls. No, this is a boy doll, it's fine. Child's Play. I was 5, Dave. Child's Play. To the point where I was so fucked up in the head over it that I had a recurring dream for almost a year of how Chucky would come and kill me.
Wow! And here's me who just watched American Psycho last week.
There you go. A couple of weeks or months later, she said to me, "Would you like to watch another movie?"
No,
no, Nanny, I don't want to watch another. No. This is not about dolls. I was like, oh, what's this about? This is about dreams.
Oh my God! It wasn't Nightmare on Elm Street, was it?
Yep. And then what happened then was I then had a recurring dream and how I was outside my house with my friends playing away, and a vision of Chucky would appear in the air. He would then stroll up the road with a machete in his hand, and I would have to fight him. So for some reason I had a machete in my hand, so then we would start fighting. He'd take chunks out of me, I'd take chunks out of him. Eventually he got up to my bedroom where I'm killing him and he's killing me. I eventually lob his head off, and that's the end of it. I fall down on the bed. I feel something in my chest, and Freddy's hand bursts out.
Oh,
a la Alien. The Alien chest burst out. It's exactly what it is. And it's, You see, I'm so desensitized to stuff like that now.
I don't know why about that. No, I'm sorry. But, that's the moral of this whole thing.
What the hell did you just write?
Is that do not touch Willie?
Do not touch Willie.
Yeah.
What the hell is that from?
Remember that Simpsons episode from the...
Oh, yeah. Do not... Oh, Jesus. See, you're nerdy about The Simpsons. There you go.
Well, yeah.
But I'm so...
I could go on GoT, so...
I can absolutely... I'm not going to have a problem watching Black Mirror because I watched stuff like that when I was 5. There was also a friend of mine... Now, I don't know how much of a friend she was when she actually made me watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling you to watch this. I'm telling you that if you ever get a chance to watch it, take the DVD out or burn the file or whatever you have to do. Just destroy this. Do not watch this movie. It's a movie by the name of... It's called The Serbian Movie. It's the sickest thing I've ever seen. Absolute sickest thing I've ever seen. If anyone ever says to you, you should watch that movie, don't watch that movie. It is the worst thing imaginable. I'm not even going to say what's in it. It's about a porn star who leaves the industry and gets tempted back by a director, but this director has very, 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 very sick ideas about how things should go. And we're talking about, basically, we're talking about rape, real rape. We're not talking about fluff stuff or anything like that. We're talking about real rape in the movies. We're talking about paedophilia and stuff like that. And this is this director's idea of the future of porn. And this actor is horrified, but he is drugged and made to participate in certain things. Dear. It is the worst thing I have ever seen. But I'm so desensitized now. It's just like, okay, it's the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's not going to keep me up at night.
Are you sure about that?
It's really not.
Wow.
It's really not. But, yeah, you know what? We're going to give Black Mirror a go.
I
I
encourage
think
you.
so. We're definitely going to give Black Mirror a go.
I can't be as shocking as that, though. Jesus Christ.
I'm also going to encourage people, get out there, get onto your Netflix accounts, or get onto your dodgy boxes, or get into whatever bloody station's on, and watch Peaky Blinders.
100%.
It is the best thing on TV right now. Game of Thrones is finished, lads. You need something new, watch Peaky Blinders.
Well, it's certainly an argument for it being the best thing on Netflix.
Absolutely. It's the best thing right now on Netflix. It is fantastic. Cillian Murphy, stellar in that movie. Not that movie, in that series. Absolutely stellar. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it there.
Awesome.
Our very first nerdy news. I think that was a success, Dave. What do you think?
Was. No, it went
Absolute
very well.
success.
We're going to
you will be, yeah, well, exactly. You will be hearing more from nerdy news in the next few months. We will be having guests on again, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, you will hear people other than me and Dave, because sometimes you can get sick of listening to us, even though I have that Barry White sultry voice going on. I've been told that I have a very nice... Yeah, this is what I've been told, Dave.
Wow.
I've been told I have a very nice voice.
Very good.
She's a great one for the moist.
Do you prefer playing that one for some reason?
Go on, play the other.
You asked for it.
Moist. Oh, dear Jesus. We're going to get shut down. We're going, our illustrious leader is going to go, you know what, lads? It's not worth it.
We went into quite detailed things today, didn't we? So
we really did. But I hope
end.
I hope people enjoyed it. But I hope it gave an insight into some of the things that's going to be coming out there, some of the things that are out there, and you should be watching now. Dave, if I'm giving Black Mirror a go,
what to watch?
You need to watch. You need to get your Marvel on, buddy.
Oh, listen, I know. I'm far behind.
You need to get your Marvel on.
I know where to go from here. So it needs. Just fucking do it, I'm like, I don't even know what to do right now. I'm just like I'm so disappointed in myself on the way, but I don't know. I don't like putting pressure on myself over these situations. I shouldn't have to.
Okay, well, you don't put pressure on yourself. I'll put the pressure on you. How about that?
That's even worse. But go on. Yeah, listen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed our nerdy news this week. We will have nerdy news coming again. It's not going to be the same nerdy news. Not going to be any of that fake news stuff that's out there. We're going to try and bring you some new stuff each and every time we do this. But hopefully next time we will have guests on. We're going to have people coming on to talk about Star Wars soon. Mm-hmm. It's a subject we actually haven't talked about on Talk Nerdy. Yeah, we haven't had a guest. We haven't had a Star Wars guest.
Well, we talked about
Star. We did talk. I talked about it, but we didn't have actual guests on today.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some guests on very, very soon. Members of certain costuming clubs to come in and talk about their love of Star Wars and their love of costuming. We're going to have people on to talk in the same vein. We're going to have people on to talk about Star Trek. Mm-hmm. We did have Keego on to talk about Star Trek, but the less that's said about that, the better.
Oh, but
that was fantastic, but it was absolutely crazy shit, man. Like, I love Keego, but that was some crazy shit. It really was.
Listenable crazy shit.
That's where the moist came from.
It wasn't it?
That's where the moist came from.
No, it's where she's a great one for the old moistest came from.
Oh,
wait, you're describing one of the ladies who was acting in it. I forget which one.
I'm not getting into that now, Dave. I'm wrapping you up there now. We're going to have people on to talk about that. We're going to have people on to talk about their love for airsoft, and that's a subject that I really want to talk about because it's something I really want to try. I've tried paintballing, I've tried laser tag and stuff like that, but it just doesn't seem to be as chaotic, but in the same sense as fun as airsoft. So we're going to have a couple of people on to talk about that, and how them and their families absolutely love it. They go out every Sunday and they do it.
Wow.
We are going to have two very special guests on very soon to talk about Disney, and how they came together and how their love of Disney brought them together, and how they're now engaged because of Disney. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you like this episode. I also encourage people to go on and listen to the last ever A Game of Low Blows, episode 6. Get on, listen to that, as the normal Low Blow show will be coming back very soon. So get on and listen to that if you've not listened to it already. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your continued support and listening. If there's anything you want to hear on this show, let us know. Yeah. Please let us know. Just send us an email message. Instagram, it's at Gerry Talk Nerdy to me. Send us a message on that. If there's anything you want to discuss in the show, if there's anything you would like to hear on the show, if there's anything new you want to show, let us know, because your feedback is important to us. Because if you're not liking something, we need to change that. And if you are liking something, well, let's keep doing it. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Gerry, you've been Nerdy. Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.